Brothers and sisters, one of the easiest words to say that is available to us in a dictionary is word no, if it isn't the easiest. Only one syllable, 2 letters, that's it. It can be said without much effort and without having to exercise our mouth too much. And there are many ways to say it. It can be groaned out, it can be said with teeth clenched, it can be repeated multiple times to emphasize the point. That would be our objection or opposition. Or it can be said just once. But we can be certain that the message will get through. The meaning will be clear enough to the recipient. The word no is much easier to say than the word yes. To say yes will make us feel vulnerable and our availability restricted and taken up by others. To say yes will require our submission as well as our obedience to some sort of authority. So the word yes is a word that we'll have to use with much caution, as there will be implications in regards to our availability, vulnerability, and security. So the easiest way to get us out of any situation is to say no. As simple as that. That would shut the door to any further discussion, negotiation, or agreements. So for Thomas, who was not with the disciples when the risen Christ appeared to them, his response to whatever they said about having seen the risen Lord was straight no. And he showed how adamant he was when he said this: "Unless I see the nail marks in his hands and put my fingers into them and see his side and put my hand into the wound, I will not believe." So in a short way, he was saying no means no. I'm not buying that. But it was understandable why Thomas was so adamant. When he saw Jesus being nailed to the cross and died on it, it was just too shocking for him. It was big no to him. No, it cannot be. Then after that, with no hope left in him, he probably decided that there was no point in hanging around the other disciples any longer. So maybe that was why he wasn't with them when Jesus eventually appeared to them. For Thomas, he was like one big tied up knot. His mind, his heart, his entire life were all tied up like a knot. And he had only one word to say to anything and to anyone, and that was no. But it was to such resistance that Jesus, in his love and mercy, appeared again for Thomas, especially for Thomas. With love and mercy and compassion, Jesus came to him to change the no, that big no, into yes. And that yes from Thomas became a very profound profession of faith. My Lord and my God. On this second Sunday of Easter, a Mercy Sunday, we give thanks to God for his love and mercy and compassion. And he is calling us to surrender all our no's that has tied up so many knots in our lives. They are the tied and hardened knots of our minds, our hearts, and our lives. They are the tied knots of our faith that have resulted in our disobedience to God. There are tied knots in our relationships that have caused tension and even friction in those relationships. We have said no too many times that we have just become a big no to God and to others. But Jesus came for Thomas to untie his knots, the knots of his life, and to change his no into yes. It was Resounding yes from Thomas as he said, "My Lord and my God." Let us not say no to Jesus, but let us say yes to him in the following prayer. O God, please untie the knots that are in my mind, my heart, and my life. Remove the have-nots, the can-nots, and the do-nots that I have in my mind. Erase all the will-nots, might-nots, that may find a home in my heart. Release me from the could-nots, would-nots that obstruct my life. And most of all, O God, I ask that you remove from my mind, my heart, and my life all the am-nots that I have allowed to hold me back, especially the thought that I am not good enough. Amen.